before showing you the table about Jihad Mornya, which was finished, killed today, let us remind you that all these things are much deeper. The roots of it cannot be solved by politics, because it's much, much deeper, connected with the Torah. Now, so therefore I will advise very much that you will read my book, Philistines and Palestinians in Torah codes, because there you will find out all the ideas, the ideological conflict between Israel and the Philistines in the past and today. So very important book, as we try to collect all this past from Kabbalah, from Zohar, from the Midrash, Talmud, about the Philistines, because quite well it's clear that the problems of today are much deeper, to do with religion, to do with ideology, cannot be solved by politics. And our rabbis tell us already in the Kabbalah that the problem that we have, unfortunately, much else from the Palestinians, even though those Palestinians of the past are not of today, but it's written that the spirit of these Palestinians, which is called in Kabbalah shells, are unfortunately still exist. And this is why David, when he speaks about Alei Pleshet Tetra in his Psalms, when he speaks about the Palestinians, that about them you have to pray, to cry, to be saved from them. So it's written here that he sees that in future, right, before Mashiach, the eye will come to cause a lot of troubles to Israel. So a lot of indications about it. Also, our commentator says that the fact that today the Philistines, even in his time, feel very strongly to establish themselves in Gaza, around this area, where the Philistines in the past were, shows that they are connected really spiritually to these Palestinians. So Palestinians, as we said, very important, we feel very important book, because this will give you the background, the understanding what is really behind all this conflict of today between the Palestinians, all of them, Fatah, Hezbollah, all of them are connected to these roots, and definitely connected with Amalek, as the Kabbalah says that Philistine and Kabbalah, Amalek goes together. Now, let us see what we saw in the table when we were looking for best meetings of Jihad Mornya, who was finished off today, killed, and let us see what the table tells us. Now, we are looking for the best meeting of Jihad Mornya, and definitely this year, 775. Amazingly, it came in one book, which itself makes it more important. Genesis. So this is programmed, by the way, by Dr. Rothenberg, who became himself Orthodox Jew, when he saw this phenomena of the codes, which clearly shows that Torah is from heaven. So now what is also interesting, as we said, that the problems of today, the terror, everything, all this, everyone root, the Philistine, and Fatah, by the way, the same line, because they are connected. And looking more into it, it is interesting that we see it appearing in verses in Genesis, which really come to Nachmanides and others, Kabbalah indicate to future problems. This is very interesting what the Ramban said about when the Torah speaks about Amraphel, and it was in the time of the king of Babylon, Shinar, Elassar, Persia, and so on. This according to the Nachmanides. Asu Milchama, they did a war, fighting one with the other. In fact, this is a place when our rabbis tell us, when you will see a lot of nations fighting one with the other, teasing each other, wait for Messiah, because this is one of the signs. And it is intriguing. Here comes the promise of God to Jacob, at Kol Haaretz, Asher Ata, all the land that you see, I will give to you and your descendants. And it goes together. So all this, what is going on today, all this fighting between nations all over, is a sign that we are near to this time of Mashiach, according to this. Now, what is interesting that we're looking for Jihad Mornya, and the Torah tells us who is this person. So the Torah says he's a Amalekite, and Yechusal, he will be finished off. Yechusal, he will be killed, but more completely finished. And he's a Amalekite, because the Rebbe tell us that every nation or man, like Aman, Agag, who want to lick up the Jewish blood like a dog, because this is the meaning of the Amalek. A nation who want to lick the Jewish blood, to destroy them, as we see today, those murder in France, all over, like thirsty for the Jewish blood, to kill them. And they train them how to kill, how to really suck the blood of Jewish people. So, interesting table, and as we said, very relevant to our time. And the most important is to know that this Amalekite is really in each person. This is really the evil inclination, etc. And he is who is causing us to transfer Torah. Unfortunately, it's written, Tzachot Selach Amalek, Asher Kar, remember Amalek who defiled you, who contaminated you, called contamination. So definitely breaking the Shabbat, which is definitely unfortunately the sin which brings Amalek, purity of life and so on. Everything depends on this. And here we see clearly that this is the root of our problems, not politics. They will not solve the problem. The only thing will solve the problem. Keep Torah, strengthen our belief in God, and then really we'll have the merit to see Messiah, Mashiach, coming soon in our time.